Around 15 years since we met here. Good to see you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
It's been a while.
It's been 6 months, not 15 years.
It seems like we met almost 2 years ago.
No. I'm well.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good to see you.
Asante.
And on that note, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We are taking a look at what you have. And on that note, there is no traffic in Nakuru. What's happening?
Well, there is traffic in Nairobi.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Director, just place this. I want to tell Crispus there is no traffic in Nakuru. The entire stretch is moving.
Well, you see, it's an issue of a lot of routes have been opened up in Nakuru, where you find the main highway is no longer carrying the heavier load.
Okay.
So most of the residents in Nakuru are able to use alternative routes to get to the CBD. Are
you trying to paint a good picture about Nakuru?
It is. We are doing
or I can just say people are still asleep.
We are doing very well.
Let me say the people are still asleep.
As I'm sitting.
But yeah, I was in Nakuru around 2 weeks ago, and so far the bypasses outside the city center has completely contributed to this one. The same applies to Eldoret.
Yes.
The same applies to Nairobi.
Yes.
So I think expanding, as an engineer, expanding those external highways and bypasses is the only way to decongest one of these major cities.
It's true. But also we need to realize as a country also, alternatives way of getting to the CBD are also something we need to plan for. Because as you open more routes, more people acquire vehicles, and therefore the load will always increase. In places like America, they have realized building roads is not always the solution. So also providing alternative ways to come to the CBD is very important. And also opening up areas that can be more vibrant in terms of urban activities outside the CBD will also help. So in Nakuru, we are also looking at expanding in terms of the urban reach for the city, so that some of the areas that are bringing load to the city are also able to take it, so that we can have outside Nakuru town, outside Nakuru city, some centers that are able to provide the kind of services that people want to find in the city.
Do you really have room for expansion in Nakuru town? Because if you had the other side of town, you're heading towards War Memorial Hospital, past State House, the other side, again on that side, you're heading towards the lake.
As you approach Nakuru from Nairobi, there is room, areas like Pipeline, Barnabas, to be able to make them, once we do the roads there, once we're able to provide the utilities, people can be able to build some very good infrastructure in terms of malls, in terms of businesses. Then as you exit Nakuru, as you go to Njoro, there's a lot of room for growth there. So we hope in the next, if you see what we are calling a county development plan, it is providing for those expansion growth in those areas, so that most the investment that we expect from the investors will be outside the CBD. Yes.
Why don't you expand the city outside, towards Ngata, that side of town?
That is exactly what I'm saying. Yes, like the areas around Njoro, Ngata, those are areas where the land is still virgin, and if you want to do good real estate. I personally come from Bahati.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they privately owned land, or?
They are most of them privately owned lands. Although institutions like the Rift Valley Science Institute and Egerton and some Ministry of Agriculture own a big chunk of that land. Yes.
How is the city where you are right now?
The city is doing very well.
A lot of work for you?
We have, we are looking at, we've just finished what we call the Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 1.
Okay.
We are looking for more funding for Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 2, which we hope will also use that to leverage. We are about to finish the Afraha Stadium Phase 1, and we get Phase 2, so that maybe AFCON 2027, we can also be a host of that tournament. Yes.
There is a lot of war about War Memorial Hospital.
That one is a matter in court. We don't want to discuss now.
You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Let's talk about what we have on the front page of People Daily. Window open for students' loans in private university. At least there is some reprieve now for students who are joining private universities. And around a week, 2 weeks or so ago, there was a lot of uproar from students who are trying to get access to the portal to apply for their courses. Some would say it was frustrating because it crashed. Either there was no response, but now even students will now have that liberty to choose a course in their private universities or even universities of their own choice. Perhaps there's some good news for parents or even students as well.
It's important, but also on the issue of the system failing, we need to realize last year, a time like this, only 5,000 government services would be accessed on the e-citizen platform.
Yes.
Today, we are talking about 13,000 services being applied on the same platform. So Kenyans need to realize it's not about university students accessing this platform. This platform is heavily loaded, so the government needs to also invest in terms of increasing the capacity of this system. Yeah. So there need to be able to address some of this perennial breakdown of the system. We have seen also M-Pesa having the same problems because the system is struggling. So I believe that is going to be addressed. But as far as the students' loans are concerned, it is good to open. I mean, these students' loans are paid at an interest. So it should not be a preview of public students, public university students alone. If I am able to borrow and pay when I finish my course, then why should I not be given the opportunity, even if I go to a private university?
Yes. Of course, Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, withdrew that act, perhaps for fear of discrimination against some court cases. That would be discriminatory. I was just taking a look at some of the stories here. Chiloba, you know the gentleman, a man with 9 lives. Mr. Chiloba, please come on my set. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. He was our boss at some point at CAK.
We have people like Polycarp Igade also. We have 9 lives in the private sector. So
some will say that where did this face well pray?
It's just an issue of aligning yourself with the right people and the right place.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's cross over and take a look at what you have on the front page of the People Daily. Sexual abuse in school. This is what you have. Effects include poor grades and delinquency. And the story on the front page says that a host of secondary school students are suffering in silence as sex predators, including their classmates and teachers, pounce on them with their complaints often being ignored even by their own parents. Who will stop this silent epidemic?
It's very, very sad that at this time of age, we are still discussing such issues. But to tell you the truth, as a young parent, these are issues that we are all concerned about. These are issues we worry about. But I also want to call on the leadership of the school management leadership. They need to take some of these matters seriously. We have seen how people with gender-based violence go to police station and they are ignored. We don't want also our students, our pupils, when they come to the school management with such issues, to be ignored. We also want them to give an opportunity for children to be able to share some of the challenges. They may not always be sexual abuse issues, but they may also be issues of abuse at home, emotional abuse, violence at home, that they also are suffering from. So it's important that the school is able to create an opportunity or a platform where children can be able to share and have a conversation. Mental health is a big problem in our society. It's not a reserve of all of the adults. It's also a problem affecting children. So we need to be able to give an infrastructure that can give children the opportunity to be able to share. And
let's make it clear.
Yes.
This applies to both gender.
This, especially right now, one of the challenges we are having, and people are not talking about, is the issue of homosexuality.
Exactly.
And this abuse is not just from the school management alone, or teachers alone. Even the pupils themselves abuse other pupils. So we need to really to have what we can call a system in place that can be able to help children who are vulnerable to this kind of challenges be able to tell the management, I have this problem, or to tell the parents, I have this problem. You find you go to a boarding school, 7 weeks you're not able to be in touch with your parents until the day you come for midterm. And when you come for midterm, maybe your parents are not even available, so you're not even having chance to talk. It's just a matter of 2 days you're back to school. So are children being given enough time to be able to talk to each other and talk to their parents and also share some of these challenges? We are not sure.
There are some schools where students are allowed 1 weekend to get out.
Yes.
You're allowed to go out.
Breathe out and breathe in.
Yeah, you have freedom. You move out after a week or two.
Yes.
You go and just, relax your mind off school, then come back.
Yes.
So long as you're back in school in the right time.
Yes, yes.
But again, what do you think? Students given that power to speak out, because you realize there's a gap between either parents and pupil, or children and their parents, as well as students or kids and the teachers. There is a very big gap, because rarely do you have nowadays, you'll agree with me, parents are busy, so they say chasing for money. So you'll not have enough time between you to sit down with your parents and your kids to tell them exactly, or even to read their mind, what's going through them. So you leave them, for the world to teach them. And that is why perhaps you are getting to this, because they have nowhere to run to. They have nobody to run to.
If you take, for example, the time of COVID, where parents and children were forced to just spend time together. There was a bit of violence, but also there was an opportunity for parents to understand their children, to understand their household. Today, a lot of parents are back to their bad manners of spending a lot of time watching TV, being on their phone, not having time for their families. So as much as children may be given a break, for example, on a weekend, they will go home, but they'll not spend that time with their parents. Their parents are not there. They're probably watching football, or mothers are in a chama somewhere. So there's no time for them. They're probably with
use another example, not football.
It is a reality.
It's another example.
It's a reality. Because if you take 7 hours of a weekend on football, definitely those are hours that you've spent with your children, and you've not done that. So when you don't do that, then the opportunity to have a conversation with your children has elapsed. You're not going to have it another time. So parents need to be intentional that if you have a child, you must intentionally create time for them. Whether other things are important or not, your child comes first. Because at the end of your retirement, or when you finish all this that is making you very busy, it is that child that will be very important. If you find parents who are in their 60s and 70s, the biggest headache they're having today is their children. Recently, I had a medical procedure with my eye, and a parent came there and she was told, you're having an eye problem because of stress. So she was wondering, where is my stress coming from? And I was asking her, do you have children? And I realized the stress she's having is because of the challenges she's having with her children. Yet she was not aware that those are things that are unconsciously disturbing her. So we as parents need to invest in these children so that our old age can be as peaceful as much as possible.
Do I really have anything to add at that point?
No.
Nothing to add. Okay, let's cross over to politics. You've seen these two gentlemen.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. And there you have it. We have got battle for ODM Soul, Joho versus Oparanya. We have got two factions here. Apparently, Joho met some of his friends, quote unquote. We have got Joho camp. On this other side, we also have Oparanya camp. Let me just do that. Very good. Let me have Joho camp. Start with Oparanya camp. On Oparanya side, we have Senator Sifuna. We have got Senator Oburu Oginga. We have got Topio Wandai, Timothy Bosire, Simbarati, and Elsie Muhanda. Okay? And on the other side of Joho, we have Junet, John Mbadi, Babowino, Ledama Senator, Stewart Mazayo, as well as Fatuma Masito. So, young versus old, so to speak, in terms of there. So there is a face-off. The battle to succeed ODM Chief Raila Odinga is on, with two factions beginning to emerge. One is allied to former Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, while the other one is also allied to former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. All these are former governors. And Mr. Joho yesterday hit the road running, holding talks with some ODM members in his camp as he made preparations to launch his nationwide campaigns. Interesting times ahead. Crispus.
Well, we need to understand, what is ODM? What is the fabric that defines ODM? ODM is defined by Raila Amolo Odinga. He's never been a career civil servant as Oparanya might be. So Joho, Oparanya, former governors. But Oparanya comes with a lot of experience in terms of public service. But he doesn't have the money as much as we may say Joho has. So the challenge is understanding, what does ODM want? And we must understand, what is ODM? ODM is an opposition party. It needs a vibrant young leadership that can take it for the next 20, 30 years without Raila Amolo Odinga. Because as much as he may go to the AU, even if he doesn't go to the AU, he will have to retire probably in the next 5 or 10 years. So what kind of leadership will take ODM to the next 20 or 30 years without breaking it? I see myself, Joho, being the person who might take this seat, because ODM has been kept alive by the strong support it has from Joho and the Coast region and Nyanza region. Coast and Nyanza region kind of work together very well, and I feel like Joho might be able to take this seat.
These two gentlemen have positions in ODM.
They are both deputy leaders?
Yes.
Yes.
And so you would imagine both deputy party leaders deputizing Raila Odinga,
Yes.
who is going for the big job, so they say.
Yes.
And the seat perhaps is going to remains quote-unquote vacant.
Yes.
With Raila's exit, not exit per se, but he's now focused to AU job.
Yes.
So now have these two gentlemen. Let's fast forward to 1 year to 2024 election.
Yes.
27 election.
27 election.
With these two people. Imagine this appeared on the front page sometimes in 2027.
I find myself inclined to supporting Joho in terms of the kind of vibrance that ODM will require. We know the party how it is. We know the kind of things ODM has been able to move from the year 2005 when they held the first referendum of banana versus orange and gave birth to the ODM party. That kind of vibrance is only found in people like Joho, who have aligned themselves with Bobby Owino, the senator of Narok. Those are the kind of vibrant leaders can be able to take ODM to the next level. It can be able to grow it. But on the other side, I see people who can easily be swayed back to government because they are more of public service career people who are inclined of, leaning to the government side or listening to the government side. The other side is held bent on opposing.
Yes.
No matter the issue, whether the government is right or wrong, they are able to oppose, and they oppose without flinching an eye. So I see Joho being the person who will probably lead that party come 2027.
Okay. This gentleman also have a very long-standing career. He's also been in government, in a ministry before, in the past regime.
Yes,
Kibaki's
he worked with Kibaki.
Exactly.
But you've seen, Kenyans are not ready to work with people just because they have a lot of experience in public service. Kenyans elect noise. The more noise you make, the more violence you bring, the better for you.
So which is the most noisiest faction here?
The Joho side.
We'll come back to this later on. Let's take a look at what we have on the front page of the Standard.
Yes.
Very quickly, the Standard says that staring at a disaster. This is what you have. Doctors are going on strike. If the demands are not met, Ministry of Health officials are hesitant to post interns who make up almost 30% of the workforce. As the calls for dialogue grow louder, Kenyans will yet again bear the brunt of the strike. That is the story here. They gave their 7-day notice, and then what the CS, Dr. Nakumicha, said is CS Susan said that they don't have money yet to do that, but the doctors are also hell-bent for that. They want almost interns to be employed across the country, 1,000 of them, and to be paid. I don't know what you're doing in Nakuru County specifically. Let me just take it back home. What's happening? Do you have enough doctors in Nakuru?
Generally, across the country, including Nakuru, we don't have enough doctors, and especially specialized doctors who can be able to address some of the chronic issues. So as a country and as a counties, we're having this challenge. And the health function is now heavily relied upon by county governments.
Yes.
So therefore, the challenges of health sector are shared across both the national government and the county governments. But we also have a challenge. We have we are having a threat where a lot of our health workers, including doctors, are leaving the country for greener pastures in Western countries, in the Middle East. If we don't address the issue of increasing our ability to produce more doctors, we'll still have this challenge, even when we pay them enough. In India, they have a lot of doctors, many of them, who pricing is as low as 500 shillings for consulting fee because they have plenty of doctors they produce every year. So we need to produce a lot of them so that the issue of supply and demand can come into play. But we'll not fix this by paying people a lot of money because they are few, they'll continue demanding more and will not be able to meet their needs. But if you produce as many doctors as possible, as many health workers, every person will just walk into an office and will find a doctor. Today, if you want a lawyer, they're in every corner. There's always a law firm somewhere.
Yes.
And therefore, you find nowadays legal services are easily accessed as opposed to engineers and doctors. So we need to produce quality doctors, quality health workers, many of them, so that at any corner you go to, you find a qualified health worker to provide you service. And you'll find these costs coming down.
I get it. All right. U.S. evacuates staff as violent tech stall on Haiti capital and residents.
I'm really, I have followed the Haiti story since
it's so painful.
the president
and now
was
killed. They said they actually have lifted non-essential embassy staff from Haiti.
Yes.
And as the country spirals further into gang violence, the Americans have also boosted security at their mission in the capital, that is Port-au-Prince. So, but then, we all know what's happening back home.
Well, for me, Haiti is a very independent country in the Caribbean. It got its independence 200 years ago, but since then they have never enjoyed the fruits of their independence.
Yes.
And this is clearly to demonstrate how the Western world has never wanted a stable African state to prosper. 200 years ago, Haiti was among the richest country because it used to produce sugar. Sugar was
how many years ago?
200 years ago. Sugar was the highest selling commodity in the world. If you were producing sugar, you are the richest country. The way we have crude oil today in Saudi Arabia, that was how sugar was important then. Today, Haiti is the poorest country. It does not have anything. Is because the Western world has worked so much to destroy that country.
Do me a favor, because you have the Star newspaper there, please just carry for me the front page.
Yes.
To the camera.
Yes.
That is what you have on the front page of the Star. If you have there, today I've given you an assignment. That is on the front page, and that is a gang. That is really what's happening on the front page.
Yes.
Haiti, that is a gang, marauding gangs, the violent protests in Haiti. And the Prime Minister was here a fortnight ago again to see the deal with President William Ruto.
And he's not been able to go back to his country. He tried to fly back yesterday.
Yes.
He was forced to go back to Puerto Rico. He cannot be able to land into Haiti at the moment because the gangs have taken over the streets. The airport, yes, it is closed. The ports are closed, but they cannot access their country. I know of many Kenyans who are supposed to go to prepare for the arrival of the Kenyan police forces there. They are stuck in America. So we have a problem in this country that is beyond the imagination of anybody. We already have Gaza as a problem, but this is the worst that the humanity can face
Crispus,
at the moment.
from the U.S. to Haiti, it's like a stone throw. It's like from here to where you are.
Yes.
Compared to from where we are here in Kenya to Haiti.
Yes.
Hours of traveling and layovers and etc., etc. I mean, why Kenya of all the nations, and why Kenya police of all the nations, of all the forces under the sun? I mean,
it's quite unfortunate that for the first time the Western world has been able to fail as the policeman of the world. And now they are relying upon a small country like Kenya to try and police something that they created themselves. Around 1920s, the U.S. tried to colonize Haiti. And from that time, Haiti has never been anything as a good country. It has been ruled by dictators. They have destroyed that country. America has tried to impose
How many presidents have they assassinated?
They have assassinated so many. They have tried to impose their own leadership, and nothing has come out of it. And unfortunately, natural disasters have also followed Haiti. We had the earthquake, we had the tsunami the other day. All these are challenges that the country has faced. But since then, nobody has been able to try and deal with these issues decisively to be able to address the challenges of Haiti. Is it because they are black? And maybe that's why the African countries like Kenya felt that we need to clean this black stain of every black country in the world having challenges. Probably we have an opportunity as a country to demonstrate our capacity, but do we have the money? Do we have the resources? Do we have the understanding of the infrastructure in Haiti? These people are French speaking. How many of our police force speak French? Do we understand the DNA of the gangs? Do you understand why it is gangs, not tribal? Like we have challenges here. You know, in Kenya or Africa, it's a tribal issue. But there, they speak the same language. They are the same people. But now it's about gangs. Who are behind these gangs? Who is financing them? What are they after? We don't understand. We don't have the intelligence on the ground to be able to really understand these people. And unfortunately, yes, we will send these people if government is determined to do that. But how many of them will survive the challenges of Haiti?
The Operation Linda Inchi started with President Mwai Kibaki. It started by when only 2 in the coastal town
yes.
in Mombasa.
Yes.
And that is how Operation Lenda Inchi started.
Yes, and we've been there for the last 13 years.
Exactly.
Yes, and even if we left today, we will not have left change. We have not improved the lives of the Somali. We still have the Somali force having challenges up to today. If they leave them 1 minute, they are attacked by Al-Shabaab.
What do you think is the real problem with Haiti?
Haiti, just like Somalia, they are vested interest beyond the people, the Haitians themselves. There are forces out to take advantage of that civil failure in that failing state. There are some interest beyond what we see that are making money or having economic or political interests beyond what we see as ordinary citizens of the world. Just like Somalia. Why has Somalia never had peace? 32 years after they first had this challenge, 33 years later. How come? Because there are interests beyond. Yet there are a lot of resources that are put into Haiti. There are a lot of resources put in Somalia. But those resources have no impact because the challenges you're facing are beyond the money you put there. They are things that are about political interests of the Western world. What those interests are, when we understand them, when we stop being pawns in the game of chess by the Western world,
yes,
then we'll be able to address those. But before we do that, we'll have big problems. You've seen how in the Sahel region, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, when they came together, the French were able to be repulsed and pushed away. There's some source of stability. They're able to maximize on the wealth they have as a country. So even Haiti and Somalia, they must be having something that this Western world want. And they can only get it when there is a failed state. The day the people of Haiti will wake up and realize it's not about them, it's about us. We need to focus on our peace, our law and order. Then Haiti will be a successful country.
Do you really think Kenya as a country can go back to where we were in 2007, 2008? Do you think we can go back there?
I mean, just a year ago, we were heading in that direction because of our loose and careless talk.
Exactly.
Yes, we are not very far.
But we are afraid we learned our lesson.
The only challenge, the only great thing that Kenya has, we are surrounded by stable countries that speak to our sense.
Yeah.
Uganda cannot allow us to fail. You understand? Tanzania cannot allow us to fail.
Because they know what they get.
Yes, we have responsible neighbors who really look after us. If you go to Haiti, Dominican Republic does not care about Cuba and Haiti because they're not being responsible neighbors. For us, we are very lucky. We have neighbors who care about us. They will not allow us to fail. Not just because they gained, because even us, when they failed, we were there for them.
Yes. What do you have on the front page of the Star newspaper?
The Star is Ketraco to pay 9 billion for failed deal. This is in relation to the power transmission for the Lake Turkana power transmission. I think this matter is something that we really need to be very careful as a country. Some of these managers we put in state parastatals, if they have no capacity to enter into contracts on behalf of government, they should not be in that office.
Yeah.
This issue of Ketraco, Kenya Power, the Ministry of Energy, having to pay large sums of money because of failures.
9 billion.
9 billion. The whole figure was 18 billion.
Yes.
So they already have paid half. So this is the other half. And it's just because a company that was awarded that work could not deliver it on time. And the government failed to do its due diligence in terms of confirming if this company has capacity to deliver. We fall into the trap of giving contracts to international companies because we think they are qualified.
Yes.
Because they come with a white man's face. Yet they had no capacity to deliver. They were given this work. They were designed to fail.
Right.
And the project was designed to fail in the way that the Kenyan consumer will pay heavily. Today, we have to pay another 9 billion. If we fail to, we'll go into the same problem. You've seen KBC being told to pay 5 billion because of a failed contract. Contractual obligations are very serious, and we cannot afford to not to oblige.
How has it affected power supply? Starting with the Turkana, coming down to distribution of power, national grid.
You see, last time we had the power blackouts last year, one of the reasons we had was because of the challenge of the Lake Turkana power line having challenges. I don't know if this is the reason why those outages were there, but I don't want to believe that there were any system-related failures relating to the money. This company is entitled to be paid because it has a contractual obligation, but it also has a responsibility to make sure that it is able to provide us power as required. And where that power is not available, we have the independent power producers who are supposed to help in stabilizing the grid. So these failures of these challenges of power have nothing to do with this bill. The only challenges we have right now is that the cost of power is very high. And this might be the reason as to why we are paying huge power bills.
9 billion.
9 billion will affect everybody. If you look at your power bill probably early last year, it has gone up maybe 30–40% as compared to what you're paying today. That is the implication.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, let's cross over and see what's happening on the front page of the France 24. Very quickly, there's what we have at Nolan's Oppenheimer. Did I get it right? Wins Best Picture.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer wins Best Picture at the Oscars. This is more of entertainment.
Yes.
Okay. Oppenheimer, a solemn 3-hour biopic that became an unlikely billion-dollar box office sensation, was crowned Best Picture at a 96th Academy Awards that doubled as a coronation for Christopher Nolan. There is more of entertainment. Okay, let's come here and see what's happening nyumbani in Africa. In Africa, okay, let me just do that. Okay, in Africa, these Chad's junta-appointed Prime Minister Success Masra announces presidential bid. Again, Chad are headed there. Ex-President Gbagbo to run in 2025 elections. This is interesting. Remember, Gbagbo was ousted, and actually the wife was also taken to prison. He was also taken. I mean, there was a lot of, Laurent Gbagbo, and this in Ivory Coast. So the story says that former Ivorian president Laurent Gbagbo agreed on Saturday to lead the party he founded into the 2025 presidential elections, according to spokesman Katinan, who told Reuters that following a meeting of the party's Central Committee, Gbagbo, president of the West Africa country from 2011, launched his African People's Party in Cote d'Ivoire in 2021, following his acquittal on war crimes charges by the International Criminal Court and returned from a decade abroad. He went in exile. I mean, we all know what happened, how he was hounded from his hiding space with the soldiers and all that. And he's back. I mean, this is interesting.
But as Africa, I think we need to ask ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen Ivory Coast, it has had its own challenges. DRC has its own challenges. The Sahel region has its own challenges. But importantly, you need to realize all these regions are endowed with a lot of natural resources.
Yes.
The same kind of resources we find in the Middle East, where we don't have any democracy at all, but in terms of economic prosperity, they are doing much better than us. So the question is this Western-style democracy really our thing? Is it what we really need as an African continent to take us to the next level? Is this democracy just something created to make us get confused and consumed and forget that our wealth every day is being taken away at no value to us? So we, as Africans, as we go into some of these elections, we need to really understand that the kind of leaders we are electing, are they for us or are they for the Western world? This is a man who was taken to the ICC. And now it is the same Western world that has dropped those charges.
Yes.
And now they are allowing him to come and lead. Probably it's just another proxy for them. So he may not be just there to make Ivory Coast a better, prosperous country. He might just be there to entrench a certain economic interest.
I mean, look at it this way. I mean, let's just face it. Imagine Laurent Gbagbo coming back to lead, I mean, the country.
Yes.
After, I mean, Africa, where did you go wrong? Where did you go wrong?
We have serious.
He led the country for 11 good years.
Yes.
And now he's coming back.
And he's going to come there and may even change the law and say we don't need election, presidential terms. We have our own members in the region who have no terms. We have seen Salva Kiir, he has overstayed. So, Loro Bagbo might be there for another 10, 20 years.
Someone else. Someone else. You don't need to mention his name.
Yes.
Let's come over. I'll come back there later on. Okay, so again, as always, we have all this. As always, take a look at what we have on the KBC app. Please go there. Downloading that app. Okay, just go to your Google Play Store. If you are an iPhone person, you can also go to Google Play, you download the KBC app and get everything on the go. That is where we have it when it happens, everything laid out there for you. And now what is trending, real time, Kenya, Korea synergy boost economy with the launch of Economic Innovation Partnership Program at Konza. An amazing story that you don't need to miss. Again, Rigiji, the Deputy President, said that he's going to represent DP Gachagua to meet avocado farmers representatives on Tuesday just to see what's happening. And he says that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, will meet representatives of avocado farmers on Tuesday for a comprehensive engagement on issues affecting the subsector. Remember last week but one, there was some protest from some members of parliament from
Katanga and
yes, who said no, the laws that they passed in parliament is now coming to bite because care officials were there to sensitize them to do the e-teams, and to do the tax on avocado. And they said, wait a minute, this is not what we agreed on. So perhaps, is it to calm down the waters?
I think the whole process of increasing the tax payer base is a very important conversation. Yes. We have tried for many years, since Kibaki times. We have always said it's only a few Kenyans who pay tax. It's only a few Kenyans who carry the heavy burden. We need to increase that space. And how we do it is what really is important, that we are able to have a constructing engagement with ordinary Kenyans who are not paying taxes, to understand the responsibility they have also in carrying the tax obligation burden. But we need to be we don't need to send young KRA officials as the first line of engagement with farmers. We need to have the leadership of KRA, the leadership of government, to be the people, the members of parliament, to be the first people to really understand why is it that the avocado farmer must pay 5% of his earnings to KRA. You need to really explain that to them so that also those people can be able to engage the farmers and be able to win the mind and hearts of the farmers to understand. It's not a bad thing for them to pay if they can be given the sense as to what they are paying for. And then they can also say, if I pay this 5%, then what do I expect in return? Yeah. Do I need to go to my health center there and get free medical care? Will my children get free education without other costs being put on me by the head teachers? Will my road be done? Will my electricity bill come down? Those are conversations Kenyans also need to have with these people, because as much as we are paying taxes, then we also get something in return. In some of this developed world, they don't question taxes because they see on the other side the benefits of paying taxes. Whereas here, we are paying a lot of taxes. But on the other side, we are now being told about changing laws to create public offices for people. We are being told to create additional MPs to make the third gender rule work. But it comes with a cost to the common man. But when I pay my taxes, the first thing I want to see, the first line of vote in terms of expenses, should be bringing my cost of living low. I go to a hospital, I don't pay. I get quality services. I don't want to see doctors striking all the time. I don't want to see teachers complaining. I don't want to hear that JSS teachers are not there.
But Crispus, Crispus, look at it this way. That's too academic.
Yes.
But that farmer in Kandara That mzee who started doing avocado farming from 1981.
Yes, he has never.
Doesn't really understand the jargon you're telling me.
It is true.
You've gone textbook now.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. If you talk to the politicians,
yes,
if you talk to the leadership, they probably may have a language that can make these people understand. But sending KRA first to them was not the right thing. Yes.
Okay, this is what you have. So, all right, and this is where we have it again. Mudavadi, again, another thing to represent us. All this is coming for you, by the way, on the front page. This is KBC app. We're having real time. Everything is updated here, led by our digital team. Asante sana. And Mudavadi is going to represent President Ruto at the Danish Africa Summit. You can take a look at that story. That is Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Musale Mudavadi is expected in
But I also want to ask,
Monday.
I want to ask Kenyans and the Kenyan government. We've seen a lot of these Western countries, Asian countries, having something Africa Summit. When will Kenya have its Kenya-Africa Summit? So that we can talk about entrenching the Africa trade agreements. Yeah. When will Kenya host its own African version of summit? We bring African leaders here ourselves and we have a conversation. We create opportunities for our business, for our products, for our young workers within Africa, where we will not suffer from discrimination, where even if I go and work, I'll be treated as an equal. So we need to follow what these Europeans are doing, because there's something big in Africa. And we as Kenyans, as we are looking for the AU position, we should also see something big in Africa ourselves and take advantage.
Crispus, this is a breakfast show. Please, I just need to serve you tea. You cannot come to my set and I don't serve you tea.
Thank you.
I'll be so unfair to you.
Thank you.
I'll have to serve you tea. Okay, let's take a break. When you come back, we're still going to continue this discussion. An amazing man. We are taking almost 360 degrees of what you should expect. But the most important one I want to take a look is that battle in ODM today. How is it going to play out now that Raila Odinga is now focusing on his AU job? We have got Oparanya here versus Joho there. Let's take a look at that and much more when I come back after this break. Meanwhile, please, upload this one, KBC app. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I want to serve you tea. Stay with us. Luciende Bali.